Welcome to the Deep Sea Archives. You are about to listen to the lore of Draven, the glorious executioner. Even as an orphan on the streets of Basilic, Draven was headstrong and full of bravado, frequently getting into vicious brawls with older street children and shady underworld thugs. While supremely confident in his own ability, some would say overconfident, it is unlikely he would have survived childhood had it not been for his older brother, Darius, who invariably finished the fights Draven started. When Basilic fell to the warhosts of Noxus, the brothers came to the attention of a captain named Cyrus, after Draven made an ill-considered attempt on his life. Impressed with their fighting spirit, Cyrus allowed them to join the Noxian ranks. For years, the brothers fought as part of Cyrus' warhost, yet while Darius took to this life easily, Draven grew steadily more bored. His martial skill was beyond question, but the daily drudgery of soldiering felt like too much effort for too little reward, and not enough personal glory. Darius inevitably rose to command his own warband, and Draven joined him. However, if he thought that would be easier, or a way to achieve greater individual recognition, he was sorely disappointed. Some say Draven chose to leave Darius' command. Some say he was forced out. Either way, his skills were highly sought after as a champion and duelist, and he was enticed to join a succession of warbands during the occupation of Ionia, before ending up with a fairly respectable contract in the Reckoning Pits. For centuries, the gladiatorial Reckoners had performed a vital role in Noxus, punishing criminals and settling disputes between the noble houses, and Draven was determined to receive the riches, adoration, and renown he felt he deserved. However, with long, protracted wars on many fronts, the spectacle was beginning to lose its appeal for the common citizen. As the attention of the crowds drifted, Draven fell into a slump, spending more and more time in the seedier drinking halls and gambling dens of the capital. He was washed up and broke when the former General Jericho Swain found him. Swain had a plan to reclaim Noxus' lost glory, and needed Draven's help to achieve it. Perhaps Swain only enlisted him as a way to ensure his brother Darius' support after the fact. Regardless, Draven proved integral to Swain's plan to depose the Grand General himself, Boram Darkwill. Standing triumphant with Swain, Draven smiled for the first time in months as the cheers of the Noxian people washed over him. But duty called. In the days and weeks following this unprecedented coup, many among the noble elite refused to honor Swain's succession, so they were sentenced to death in the arena. One condemned man escaped his handlers ahead of his execution. Operating on pure instinct, as was ever his wont, Draven leapt from the high balcony and hurled a pair of axes at the fleeing man, cutting him down in a heartbeat. After a moment of stunned silence, the crowd roared their approval. Draven retrieved his axes, spinning them high in the air, playing to his new fans, and savoring their rapturous applause. Thus Draven became the glorious executioner, turning routine bouts into grand spectacles that drew ever larger crowds. Soon enough, an enterprising and diminutive promoter, tired of paying to house, feed, and train reckoners only for them to die in front of dwindling audiences, approached Draven with an idea. What if the drama of the classic pit fights could be combined with Draven's natural showmanship? The Reckoners quickly became entertainers as much as combatants, each with their own carefully constructed backstory, fighting style, and flamboyant personality. The fights were often bloody. This was still Noxus after all, but far less often ended in death. The rivalries, trash-talking, and intrigue between the best-known Reckoners became the stuff of legend throughout the Empire, but none were talked about more than Draven. For a time he lived the high life, receiving invitations to a never-ending stream of parties and banquets, mixing with the wealthy and influential of Swain's new Noxus. He even reconciled with Darius, and would occasionally still march out with the warhosts, defeating enemy champions and generals in single combat. Nevertheless, Draven has started to grow restless once again. He is all that he could have ever imagined, and more, but now dreams of the day when the whole world knows his name.